ever feel like your own mind is running faster than you can breathe? That heavy tightness in your chest, the racing thoughts, the invisible weight pressing down even when nothing is truly wrong? That, my friend, is anxiety. And if you felt it, you are not alone. Anxiety is one of the most common struggles across the world, especially in this busy, always-on life we live today. And here, in this quiet corner with me, Evie, we'll take a slower step together, not just to talk about English, but to walk towards something deeper, a way of calming your thoughts while learning words that give those feelings a voice. Because learning English isn't only about grammar or vocabulary. It's about finding a language for your heart. And while you listen today, you'll also be gently training your English, real words, emotional words, words that matter. So stay with me. Let's begin this journey softly. One breath, one thought, one sentence at a time. Here's what today holds for you. Something simple, yet powerful. Not just English, but a shift in how you see anxiety itself. We'll uncover a small mind trick, just one, but it's the kind of shift that can loosen the grip of fear in your chest, the kind of trick that turns panic into perspective. By the end, you'll know how to understand your anxious thoughts instead of drowning in them, calm your mind when it spins too fast, and give those feelings shape in English, learning natural expressions that describe exactly what's going on inside. Think of it this way. Each phrase you hear today isn't just language practice. It's a gentle rope you can hold on to when your thoughts feel wild. By the end of this episode, you'll not only feel more confident with English, but more calm, more steady, and more capable in your own life. Let's pause and ask a simple question. Why does anxiety even exist? What's its purpose? Believe it or not, anxiety is not your enemy. It's part of your body's ancient defense system, your brain's way of keeping you safe. A touch of anxiety keeps you alert when you cross a busy street. It sharpens your senses when something important is at stake. But here's the problem. In our modern world, there are no lions chasing us, no battles in the forest. Instead, we sit at desks, stare at screens, lie awake at night, thinking about money, relationships, deadlines, the future. And because there's no action to take, those protective alarms don't switch off. They echo inside your mind, growing louder, until anxiety becomes constant. It's like a fire alarm that once saved lives, but now goes off every time someone makes toast. The signal isn't wrong, but it's out of place. That's where anxiety lives, not in the outside world, but in the endless loops of our thoughts. Here's the tricky part. If anxiety lives in our thoughts, you might wonder, can't I just think better thoughts and make it go away? The answer is both yes and no. Of course, positive thinking can help. A hopeful thought is lighter to carry than a fearful one. But when you're deep in anxiety, positive words can feel hollow, like shouting into a storm and hoping your voice will drown out the thunder. That's why today's lesson isn't about forcing happy thoughts. It's not about pretending everything is fine. Instead, it's about changing your relationship with those anxious thoughts. Not fighting them, not obeying them, simply seeing them differently. Because the moment you shift how you see your thoughts, something powerful happens. Their grip begins to loosen. They stop feeling like commands and start looking more like passing signals. Signals you can notice, acknowledge, and let go. Here it is, simple but surprisingly powerful. Are you ready? Notice the thought, name it, and don't become it. That's it. 3 small steps, but the difference they create is huge. Let's say a thought arrives. I'm not good enough. Normally, you might believe it right away. Let it sink into your chest like a stone. But with this trick, you add just a few words. I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough. Do you feel the shift? That little phrase creates space. Suddenly, you're no longer inside the thought. You're looking at it. Instead of drowning in the ocean, you're standing on the shore, watching the waves. And in that space, however small, peace begins to breathe. At first, it might sound too simple, just a few extra words, really? But here's the science. When you notice a thought without judgment, you switch on a calmer part of your brain, the part that observes instead of reacts. Think of it like this. When you believe every anxious thought, it's as if you're inside a storm, tossed around by the wind. But when you step back and say, I'm having the thought that, suddenly you're the one watching the storm from a safe distance. It's like looking up at the sky. Clouds drift by, some heavy and dark, some light and harmless. You don't have to chase them, and you don't have to fear them. You just watch, and they move on. Thoughts work the same way. They come, they go, and when you notice them instead of becoming them, they lose their power over you. The beauty of this little practice is that you can use it anywhere, anytime. Imagine you're standing in line at the store. Suddenly, your heart starts racing, your chest feels tight. The thought appears, something bad is going to happen. Instead of spiraling, you take a breath and say, I'm having the thought that something bad will happen. That simple naming gives you space, and in that space, your power returns. Or picture yourself trying to speak English with someone. Your mind whispers, I'll make a mistake. They'll think I sound stupid. Normally, that thought might freeze you. But with this trick, you gently remind yourself, I'm having the thought that I'll make a mistake. Suddenly, it's just a thought, not a truth. You can still breathe, still speak, still move forward. It's the difference between being trapped inside the storm and being the one who notices the storm passing by. Here's the problem. Anxious thoughts feel real. When your brain says, this is a problem, panic now, your body believes it. Your chest tightens, your heart races, your stomach drops. But here's the truth. Most anxious thoughts are not facts, they're habits. They're echoes of fear, not predictions of the future. And if you trust every one of them, life begins to shrink. You stop trying new things, you avoid people, you say no to opportunities. Bit by bit, fear builds walls around you and your world gets smaller. But you deserve more than that. You deserve to live wide open, to grow, to explore, to connect. And that begins with this choice. Not every thought deserves your belief. Anxiety doesn't just live in your mind. It changes how your brain works in the moment. When you feel nervous, your memory slips. The words you know suddenly vanish. Your tongue feels heavy, your focus blurs. That's why learning English and managing anxiety are so deeply connected. When you calm your mind, even just a little, your English flows more easily. You speak more clearly. You remember the words you've studied. You listen with focus instead of fear. Think of it like a radio signal. Anxiety fills the air with static, making everything fuzzy. But when you practice this trick, noticing your thoughts, naming them, creating space, the static clears. Your voice comes through. The message gets heard. So working with your mind isn't just self-care. It's one of the most powerful English learning tools you'll ever carry. Here's something important to remember. You can't push anxiety away by force. The harder you try to fight it, the stronger it seems to become. But when you shift your relationship with those feelings, when you stop wrestling with them and simply give them space, something changes. They soften. They move on. It's like gripping a rope in a tug of war. The more tightly you pull, the more tension builds in your body. But the moment you loosen your hands, the strain eases. The same goes for your anxious thoughts. You don't have to control them, you only need to stop feeding them. That simple act of noticing and allowing creates room for peace to enter, not by force, but by release. That voice inside your head, it matters more than you think. When you tell yourself, "I'm such a failure," your brain listens, your body reacts. But when you say, "This is hard, but I'm learning," your brain listens to that too, and your whole system shifts. That's why the words you use with yourself are powerful. Saying, "I'm having the thought that," isn't fake positivity. It's not sugarcoating reality. It's honest, gentle self-talk. It gives space between you and the storm, and it carries compassion instead of judgment. Think of it like speaking to a close friend. You wouldn't tell them, "You're hopeless." You'd say, "This is tough, but you're trying, and that matters." Why not give that same kindness to yourself? Every sentence you whisper to your own mind shapes the way you feel and the way you grow. Sometimes those anxious thoughts don't just whisper, they roar. They feel so loud, so heavy, that finding space seems impossible, and that's okay. You don't need to silence them. You don't need to win a battle. Think of it like sitting beside a crying child. You wouldn't shout at them to stop. You wouldn't run away. You'd sit close, breathe slowly, and wait with patience. That's exactly how you can treat your thoughts when they feel too strong. You can simply say, "This is hard, and I'm here." That's enough. Even when the storm is loud, your quiet presence is stronger. Here's something you might not expect. The more words you have for your feelings, the easier they are to carry. If all you can say is, "I feel bad," everything stays blurry and heavy. But when you name it, "I feel overwhelmed," "I feel unsure," "I feel nervous because I want to do well," the fog begins to lift. Suddenly, your mind has shape, and shape brings clarity. That's why learning English, or any language, isn't just about communication with others. It's also about understanding yourself. Every new word you learn is another tool for managing your inner world. Language is more than grammar. It's a map of emotions. And the clearer the map, the easier it is to find your way. Anxiety wants you to react. Fast, automatic, like a reflex. Your heart races, your hands shake, and before you even think, you're already caught in the panic. But responding is different. Responding is slower. It makes space for choice. When you say, "I'm having the thought that I can't do this," you pause the reflex. You step back. You create room to respond instead of obeying fear. Maybe the fear is still there, but now you decide what comes next. It's the difference between being pulled by a rushing current and standing on the bank, choosing when and how to step into the water. That space, the gap between thought and action, is where your freedom lives. This isn't just something you practice alone in your head. You can use it in real conversations, even when you're speaking English. Imagine someone says something that makes you feel small. Immediately, the thought jumps in, "They think I sound stupid." Normally, that thought might shut you down, but with the trick, you take a breath and remind yourself, "I'm having the thought that they think I sound stupid." See the difference? The thought loses its grip. You still have the choice to respond, to ask a question, to continue the conversation, to stay open. It's growth in action, not letting every anxious voice decide your behavior. Instead, you remain present, kind, and steady, even when your mind is noisy. This idea sits at the very heart of mindfulness. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts appear and disappear, like waves rolling onto the shore. Some crash loudly, others barely ripple. But you are not the waves. You are the one standing on solid ground, watching. When you begin to see yourself this way, something shifts. Instead of drowning in every fear or doubt, you realize, I have thoughts, but I am more than them. It's a quiet kind of strength, the strength of knowing you are deeper than the noise in your head. And from that depth, peace begins to grow. At first, this practice may feel strange, like brushing your teeth with the opposite hand. You'll forget, you'll slip back into old habits, and that's okay. But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Your brain begins to change, little by little. The anxious alarms grow quieter. Your mind becomes clearer, calmer, steadier. One day, you'll notice it. You don't get pulled under as quickly. You pause before reacting. You feel more confident, not just in English, but in life. It's not about perfection. It's about building a gentle habit, a daily rhythm. Over time, that rhythm becomes part of you, just like breathing. Here's the beautiful truth. This little practice isn't just for anxiety. It works with anger, with sadness, with jealousy, with fear. The steps don't change. You notice the thought, you name it, you don't become it. It may sound simple, and it is, but simple doesn't mean shallow. It means powerful. The next time you feel overwhelmed by any emotion, try it. Just pause, breathe, and add that gentle sentence. I'm having the thought that. One sentence, one breath. That's enough to begin. And sometimes, beginning is all you need. If you carry only one lesson from today, let it be this. Your thoughts are not the boss of you. They're not commands. They're not destiny. They're just thoughts, signals passing through your mind. You can notice them, listen if you want, but you don't have to obey them. With kind, clear language, I'm having the thought that you create space. And in that space, you grow stronger. Stronger in your mind, stronger in your voice, stronger even in your English because you finally have words for what once felt overwhelming. Your thoughts may keep coming like waves, but you are learning how to stand tall on the shore. Thank you for staying with me until the end. That already shows something important. You are serious about growing and about taking care of yourself. So here's what I'd love for you to do next. Today, just once, notice a thought that makes you anxious. Don't fight it, don't believe it. Simply say to yourself, I'm having the thought that, and finish the sentence. Then take a slow breath, maybe even smile. Because in that moment, you're practicing, you're learning, you're becoming stronger. And while you do this, remember, you're also training your English. Every phrase, every word you've heard today is part of your progress. Gentle, steady, real. I'm proud of you for being here. Keep practicing, keep growing, and most of all, keep being kind to yourself. Until next time, this is Evie, walking with you, one calm step at a time.